the Talking Leeds podcast with Aaron Marshall and George Brooke.
Hello and welcome along to the show. This is Talking Leeds with me, Aaron, and Mr. George Brooke, reflecting on all things Leeds United from the previous week. We're a little bit earlier than normal and a day earlier, but we thought, why not? We are here. Good afternoon, Mr. Bearded Peacock, George Brooke. How are you, sir?
Yes, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night. Good middle of the night, good mid-morning, whatever. You can go and deep down into it, Aaron. I'm okay. Like you said, we're doing it a bit beforehand, before time. But, you're on half-term, aren't you? And we're doing it early doors. How are you?
Why not? The sun is shining. It's not raining for the last time. It's not raining for the first time in 50 years. And we thought we'll bring Talking Leeds a little bit earlier this week than normal. But
absolutely,
it's good
timing. And it looks Leeds United all the way through, Aaron. I like the microphone thing and all the background and Leeds tops everywhere. Fabulous. That's last season's, isn't it? You've got on, is it?
I think so, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's this good. Season's. Have you got this season's?
I haven't. No, I'm waiting for it to be reduced, so it's about 20 quid. Then
I think it'll be reduced soon.
I'll treat yourself to a Holly Bobs, I think, in the summer.
Yes, there was a sale on recently. I don't know if it's still on. They're about 45 quid. I like the black one, which I might get at the end of the season, yes.
You might as well wait just a little bit longer. You wait yourself 2 months and you'll pick up a shirt for 25 quid or something.
Exactly. You could get the whole set for the amount that one would have cost you if you're that way inclined.
There you go. Size dependent. If you're a fat bloke like me and you can't get into a slim fit medium, then you've got no chance.
Well,
Need to get them all Manjaro before I can get one of those. Right, George, let's get straight into this. In Leeds, they've got Norwich in the FA Cup and a home tie in the last 16 of the Cup. What do you think of that?
Well, yeah, I was listening to you and Jerry speak on it yesterday, Aaron, and obviously I think you did it before the draw was done on Monday evening or Monday at some stage, didn't you? And I listened to it yesterday, having known the cup draw, and look, Norwich at home, standard, pretty easy win for me. Anyone at Ellen Road, particularly a second division side. I know we were just there last season, but we were well and truly head and shoulders above anybody in that second division last season. At home, even though Premier League is a different level, it's not the Premier League, it's the second division side at Ellen Road. Shouldn't be a problem at all. I think we beat them comfortably last year. I think it was 2-0 maybe at Ellen Road. I think it was 2-0 at Ellen Road against Norwich last year. Obviously, we smashed them in the playoffs the previous year and beat them at home as well, I think, in that year as well. So we've no trouble this, in recent seasons against Norwich City. We shouldn't have any issues. They're struggling towards the bottom end of the championship, aren't they? And I just don't see anything other than a quarter-final place for Leeds United.
Whoa.
Get the nosebleed now, Aaron, up here.
Bloody hell. You wouldn't be saying, I can't believe you're saying that. You are right. Norwich is 17th in the championship. One defeat in the last 5. Flirting with relegation, but they're not really. They're what are the 7 points clear? Then the drop, I think they'll be mid-table this season with Norwich, and they did flirt around, they did struggle, but they pulled themselves away. The Daniel Farker derby at Ellen Road, which I think is still there, isn't it? Where, yeah, for Farker. But listen, I'd love a quarter-final tie, George. I'd love a semi-final. I'd love a final. We're only potentially, if we beat Norwich City, we could be one win away from Wembley, and that would be a superb season for Leeds if they stay up and got to Wembley. Bearing in mind it's a semi-final, you just never know what happens in that. But hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think we're all up for a Wembley trip, aren't we, and whatnot. And
I am. Rather than a playoff final, I can't believe it.
yeah, I mean, if we get there, fair enough. I think, look, there's not that many championship teams left. I think there's, out of the 16, I think 11 of them are Premier League sides. I think there's Mansfield, and then I think the other 4 must be Championship, I think. So, if we get through past Norwich, which you would expect us to do, then we're playing probably a Premier League side. If it's at home, and with them being no penalties, it's an interesting kind of, it's an interesting kind of prospect of you just going on one game. If we win, we're through, and we don't have to go through a replay, which is better. And afternoon to everybody here, Carl and Jimbo and Kevin and Tom. Hello to everybody. Good afternoon, Carl. Norwich have hit a nice little run of form. They have, but I do expect, Jimbo, that we will beat them at Ellen Road.
So if we're planning a route to Wembley, George, Fulham play Southampton. Obviously, that's Premier League against Championship. Sunderland, we don't know yet because they have Port Vale, Bristol City to come. I'm pleased that City will play Newcastle, so one of those big boys will get knocked out. Obviously, we've got Norwich, Mansfield. Well, they'll beat Arsenal. Why not? Wolves take on Liverpool, Wrexham take on Chelsea, West Ham, Brentford. But, if you look at that, if Leeds get through to the next round, into the quarterfinals of the Cup, and let's say they get a favourable home tie against somebody like, I don't know, West Ham or, Fulham or Southampton, whoever, or Sunderland, you've just got to fancy yourself, especially if you get a home tie. I think you just want to avoid the likes of City and Arsenal. If you can avoid them, why not?
Well, yeah, I think you're right. If we can get a sort of fellow kind of lower mid-table Premier League side, like Sunderland, Fulham, etc., whatever, West Ham, even Brentford, maybe at home, any home tie against anyone in the division, other than like you said, the Chelsea's, Arsenal's, Liverpool's, probably all going to get through. If we can avoid them 3, then we might be all right, like you said, a home tie, the quarterfinal. If we can get through Norwich, we might get to the semis, and why not? Why not? Because,
why not?
There's always the Premier League side always come into it. Obviously, Palace won it last season. You never quite know, and why not? Literally, why not? If we can stay up, like you said, and get to Wembley or get to the quarterfinal, even if we lose against Arsenal, say, whatever, quarter-final would be the longest Leeds have been in the FA Cup for ages. I'm sure of that. And and looking at the game on Sunday, I know you guys spoke about it on Monday, but for me, like, all right, we were awful. We're awful on Sunday, and woe betides, what I say to you, Aaron, and every single time, without fail, it seems, without fail, a message will come through from yourself, and I'm thinking, oh no, here we go, the other team have scored, because generally I'm watching it on a let's say a stream, perhaps maybe maybe shouldn't be, which is a might be lagging behind.
Yeah.
It was a hammer blow on Sunday when they scored, because I felt like we were edging towards a 90-minute win, which we didn't really look like getting. They were poor, but that's to be seen with, I think, to be understood when the players haven't played together for all that time. They went to a back four, a little bit disjointed. Birmingham, no doubt, was a cup final. That old adage, it really was. They really played up, and I had to laugh. I had to laugh at them because afterwards, I'm looking at all the interviews post-match with their players. They're going off like they've won the damn game. I had to put a comment down there saying, congratulations to Birmingham for getting through, because I thought, all this fanfare, and they lost the damn game in the end.
Yeah, listen, I think ultimately the Leeds got through. Yes, it was nervy. I completely agree with you. But Birmingham have done really well at home this season, and they're aiming for promotion. I'm not saying that they'll get in that top 6 this year, but they're pushing for it. There's obviously a real buzz down at Birmingham City. But do you know what? They gave a good account for themselves, and we wish them luck because they're a great team, good fan base. We want them to see them in the Prem, of course we do. But yeah, listen, we got the job done. That's the main thing. It doesn't matter. We won't be worrying about Birmingham away if Leeds get to the semi-final of the FA Cup. It doesn't matter because they're there. So, we're not going to hold them to that. And they're through. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's like what Tom Rogers says, in all seriousness, staying up and the semi-finals of the FA Cup will be not just a great achievement, Tom. I think it will be a fantastic achievement. I think if we get this, it's like what Realist 369 says. There's a few Prem ties like Newcastle City, West Ham, Brentford, Wolves, Liverpool. So 4 will go. So again, that's 4 out, and Leeds potentially could be in as well. So listen,
it's no doubt it's a favourable tie, Aaron, and that's really, really good. And
that's what you need. That's what you need if you want a good cup run. You need favourable ties, and you need winnable ties, especially at home.
Yeah, I mean, I think my brother when it came out, he texted me saying, it's a favourable tie. That one again, another sort of championship tie. And I'm thinking, absolutely it is. Obviously, he's a Liverpool fan, and he's obviously they got Wolves, and I said, well, you probably should get through, and he said, yeah, probably, but you never know. But I feel like the FA Cup doesn't matter until you get to these sort of stages and you start to think,
absolutely,
I kind of like them, because you're going into Sunday's game thinking, pressure's off. It's not a Premier League game. It's a different kind of atmosphere around it. It's a bit more relaxed. You're thinking, I don't really care if we lose this. And in actual fact, you do, because it's a game of football that Leeds United are involved in. Of course, you want us to win. But, the later stages of the FA Cup, you think, if we'd have got out in the third round, you're going, who cares then, whatever. But because, you start to get further and further into it, and you think, actually, we could get somewhere here. And I believe they can do it. To really put, and Farke's taking it serious, which he should do. And, with respect to Birmingham, who put it all out there on Sunday, and we're unlucky not to win the game. I think, my man Perry was did his job, and great save in the first half.
It's like what Jimbo says there. Perry played really well. He's knocking now on the door, isn't he, George, for a return to the first team? Maybe, do you think?
I think so. As I always said, Sharon, as soon as Perry plays and he plays well, then I think he gets straight back in the side for the game against Villa on Saturday. For me, I think both of them aren't good, really. But I think in terms of Darlow and Perry, but I feel like Darlow, you can give Perry a little bit more leeway, because he's coming to a different country, etc., etc., etc. I think there's not much in it at the moment between the two of them, but Perry for me has the shirt, and as soon as he played well, he saved that penalty. We won the game. I know that he knows. Yeah, I'm back in for number one, and I believe that will be the case at Villa on Saturday, because he deserves it. He deserves it. Now, I was listening to Pope and whatnot, and don't go to bed just yet. And beside myself, I do still listen to it, because anything Leeds United, you lap up. But he was saying he doesn't think Perry will get the opportunity. But Adam Pope said this. I believe he will. I don't see why Farke wouldn't. Why would you have a great game like that? Real confidence boosting penalty save. We won the penalty shootout because of him. in a sense, then why would you have him then crush his confidence once again and have him sit on the bench again? I would not understand that selection.
Yeah, interesting. Tom says, speaking of the FA Cup, we could do a Wigan, win the FA Cup and be relegated. But Carl says 45 points in a cup final will do us nicely. See, this is what a cup run brings. It brings optimism. It brings a belief that we can do this. This is the only thing which we've seen on social media, the slander. Buonanotte got after one game. We as a fan base player performance over in one game. Yeah, he didn't play well though, did he, Kevin? Let's be honest. He was struggled. But he hasn't played.
Look,
you know.
I mean, he
needs time.
He does. He had some really poor touches, poor passing, and as soon as Amps come on in the second half, it was assured. It was a lot more steady, a lot more solid, and a few minutes in, we scored. I mean, but that was not a coincidence. It was because Fark made the shift, and fair play to him in that sense. He saw that he wasn't. I mean, everybody could see it from miles away, but he doesn't usually see that. We as a fan base are screaming, he's playing shit, but then he still keeps him on. This time, he hooked him straight away, saw it, what all the fans saw. Obviously, we don't need to be bad-mouthing Facundo because he's not played much. He needs to get up to speed. You need the confidence, give him the confidence because he can be you can see there's a tricky little player in there. It just hasn't got because Brendan's playing so well, and the system that Farker is now demonstrating within the team, it doesn't. There's no fit. There's nowhere for him to fit currently in that team. He obviously changed it about on Sunday and changed the formation, and that's why Facundo played really. But come Saturday again, it is Saturday, isn't it? The game, Aaron, it's 3:00, isn't it? Kickoff.
Yeah.
So come Saturday, 3:00 at Villa Park, he'll be on the bench again, I'm sure. And Brendan will be back in the team. We'll be playing the standard 3-5-2 or whatever. And and we'll see how we get on there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Let's have a look in the comments. It's like what Kevin says, they need some more game time. And Jimbo says, my worry, if Perry comes back and makes a big mistake, it'll be hard for him to come back to that. Listen, you're right. It's right. We have to wait and see, don't we?
Well, we do, but I think Perry. You could say that about any goalkeeper. Darlow still makes a lot of mistakes, and you got to admit, we all know the club needs. I think goalkeeper and striker needs to be two positions that Leeds go and strengthen straight away in the summer. They need to be doing the due diligence now to get those players through the door quickly. It was nice to see some Brazilian fans back in Perry as well. They said Fogo fans, Botafogo fans. I saw some coming on to Leeds United comments and stuff saying, good to see Perry doing well and all that. And I was, happy for him. He seems like a passionate man. I love the celebration, the passion from him. He didn't go back and he didn't give the fans a bit of something that some of them would. He was just pure passion. He wanted to do himself and the team to do well. Look at the way his teammates ran over to him and supported him at the end as well. And there's no oh, look at this, look at me. You're bad mouthing me, but I saved the penalty. Remember when Bamford did that when he scored? I'll never forget that. But it was more of a I've done it. That's it. Well, it doesn't matter if you've. Because he would have read the bad mouthing of him in social media on things and such. He was getting some stick, but instead of it letting him let that, bring him back down and go against the fan base, which some have done in the past. He was like, yes, we've done it. We did it. We've won. Yeah, and it was great. It's a great attire as well. He was all in purple, gloves, boots. It was
everything purple.
It was great. Big fan of purple. It was great to see that as well.
Yeah. News-wise as well, Jed York, I don't know if you've seen this clip, George. He said there's more investment to come in Leeds United. Obviously, he's an owner part of the group, the 49ers group, is Jed York down in San Francisco in America. I think he did an interview for TalkSport saying that there's more investment to come. There's more to come.
Yeah,
Which is pleasing as well.
I think I seen that just before we came on, Aaron, as well. And yeah, I mean, believe it when I see it. You know what I mean? Because we that might be for the stadium. I think, was it more so than the actual playing side of things? So,
that's going ahead, by the way, at the end of this season.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see cranes and the like in the summer, I think, at Ellen Road, and there might be, there might be more going into next season. Them doing a little bit more work and whatnot. So, yeah, exciting times in terms of that. But what matters most is the players on the pitch doing the job and making sure that we stay in the top division for the club to continue to flourish. And Leeds need to look at bringing in the best players for that as well. And what I will say on Sunday as well, and what I will say about the recent games, Aaron, is I've been very impressed. Now, just James Justin was just a standard player on Sunday, didn't shine out much, but from what I've seen and what I've heard of him speaking, I'm very impressed with him. And obviously, he captained the team, didn't he? Which is quite impressive to say. He's only been there in the summer, so he's obviously made a big impression on Daniel Farke. And I think is Bogle the vice captain usually.
Yeah.
So obviously both Amadou and Bogle didn't start the game. So James Justin is obviously in that conversation as well, which is great because he seems like a really good chap as well. He's very well spoken. He speaks incredibly well every time I hear him speak, and he's playing really well as well. So, that was really good as well.
Yep, completely agree. All right, okay. Good stuff, George. Right.
Sorry.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
You said what? Say it again.
Good stuff.
No, before that.
I went, good stuff.
You said you completely agree. I'd like that to be.
I completely agree with you, Forwards. Yes, I will clip it. But
play it all the way through because that isn't a regular occurrence at all.
I do agree with Forwards, George. Right, well, it's time for something a little bit new now. We've named the show Top or Flop because we've got a brand new feature for you. Here we go. Top or flop. Right, top or flop, George. This is on the back of last week's pod, where for some unknown reason we just got talking about former players. I've got 5 former or current Leeds United players, and we're going to discuss whether we think they were a top player or a flop player. Yes, how about that, George? We've even got a little bit of theme music as well in the background.
I love this. This is fabulous.
So there we are, going full out for a new feature, top or flop. And if you want to get involved in the comments, you can do. And the category which we're going to be looking at former players is from David O'Leary era.
Okay.
We could have had, we could have been looking at the likes of Rio Ferdinand, Robbie Keane, Oliver Decor, but we're not. We're going to be looking at 5 players who I've picked at random so we can have a bit of a chat about them and decide if they were a top player or a flop player.
Fair enough.
How's that sound, John?
So you absolutely great. So you've picked these out, or as a computer picked them out for you?
Picked them out. So
fair enough, yeah.
These are all David O'Leary.
Before we get going, he says the Talking Leeds A team.
Well, we are. Jerry, we've got to involve Jerry in their team as well. Right, okay. So we're going to start with an easy one, George. Mark Viduka was a £6 million signing from Celtic. What do you think to him? He was a top player for Leeds, wasn't he?
Oh, Matt Viduka was a complete flop, Aaron.
Give up 130 appearances. I'm only 59 goals. Come on.
I'm only kidding now. And of course, he was an absolute lord, wasn't he? He was the Duke. He was fabulous. Mark Viduka is one of my favourite all-time players. I mean, we are similar ages. Aaron, I know you're slightly older than me, but absolutely fabulous. Growing up, Mark Viduka, one of my favourite, absolutely fabulous player. Seems like a good lad as well. Obviously keeps in touch with how Leeds are doing. You know, you see him in the promo for this season's blue away kit, and you know, he's obviously advocating Leeds in Australia or wherever he is now. I know he's Croatian, isn't he? He was having a coffee shop in Zagreb, I think, with his wife.
Yeah,
Last time I heard, I don't know, I think he's quite anonymous now with the football stuff. But yeah, look, he was absolutely fabulous. Like Jimbo says, the Liverpool game will live long in everybody's memory, even though I was, only probably 7 or 8 at the time. But still, you know, you hear stories, you see videos of the goals, etc. Just a fabulous, fabulous player. And for Australia as well, absolutely unbelievable at a time where we enjoyed the Australians wearing white of Leeds United, which was absolutely great. So Mark Viduka is absolutely top of the top players, one of the toppest players, one of the best players that I have seen in my era of Leeds United.
Yeah. He was one of those as well, because obviously I was, what was I when he was signed for us? Must be about 10, 11 or whatever it was. I had his name on the back of my shirt.
Yeah, exactly. And that, you know, Mark Viduka, the Strongbow shirt, you know, that lives on forever. You know, the images of him in that shirt. I know it went a little bit back. Unfortunately, obviously, when we got relegated, he had to leave. It wasn't a case of him playing second division football. You know, and that images of them in that third kit, the dark blue with the pinstripes and hands on his hips at Bolton. I think he missed a penalty in that game as well. Yeah. And, you know, what a shame the way it ended. But no animosity between. It was just because we got relegated, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just want to jump into these comments because we don't have all pods to do this. We've got 4 more to discuss.
Yeah.
Michael says, I was at the club guys in the late 90s and early 90s on the coaching team, first when George Graham was there, and then David O'Leary. Listen, Michael, give us a DM. Let's get you on because we would love to chat to you if you were there.
Yeah,
we would love to hear your tales of the O'Leary era. That would be something which we would love to hear from. So give us a... Do get in contact with us. talkinglufc@gmail.com. Send us an email. Let's have a look. Realist 369 was there for the 4, which was good. And Michael says hi, Jimbo. At least he didn't go off on load. Yeah, that's right. So we're Jimbo both saying top.
Yes,
he was. Yeah.
Where
both
did he go?
Top, right.
Top.
Pardon?
I said to Jimbo, where did he go? Where did he go to uni?
I don't know. Ask him. Right, okay. Do you want to hear my next O'Leary top or flop signing?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Robbie Fowler is next.
Whoa, Robbie Fowler.
Robbie Fowler, the Liverpool legend. Leeds signed him in 2001. We flogged him to Man City in 2003. 30 appearances, 14 goals for Leeds. You look at the goals and you look at that. His record was pretty good for Leeds when he played.
Big flop.
Big flop. Wow. Yeah. Why?
Really good record, like you said, but always injured.
You look at stats, it's like one in every game or whatever.
Well, that's 2 years over the space of 18 months, 2 years. He played 30 games, he scored 14 goals. Looks impressive on paper, but he was there. He was always injured. You know, he came with great expectation. Liverpool legend, loved him there, and then he comes to Leeds, and he just didn't run up to the hype. Similar in a way, I would put him similar in that bracket of like Michael Bridges and Robbie Keane, who really didn't set the world alight in any way in a Leeds United shirt. But synonymous with that era again of David O'Leary, the club was just littered with excellent football players, you know. But Robbie Fowler, I do enjoy him as a football player, but for Leeds, time is very forgettable, isn't it?
Yeah, it didn't really work out for him. He's constantly injured, if I remember. His knees had gone, says Jimbo as well, and we paid his wages for years and years after. And as Carl says here, he was a player who was great for Liverpool, but we did not need him when he signed due to what we already had. Yeah, completely.
Yeah, exactly. We're just stockpiling strikers that they didn't really need, and they were
We
paying.
were on that. We were on that path as well. When we just buy everybody. We were
Exactly.
spending money for fun.
For no reason. Peter
Ridsdale.
Ridsdale, and then we live the dream. Whatever. Then we paid for it in League One a few years later.
So Robbie Fowler for Leeds United, is he a top player or a flop player, George?
Flop.
Flop.
Yeah.
Get involved in the comments. Jimbo says flop. Carl says we're not going to mention Seth Johnson, but we didn't need him either. Yeah,
No,
I'd say it was a flop because
recently.
it just didn't work out for him, did it?
No.
Right. Okay. So Robbie Fowler is gone from that one. The next one, which I have here, is this. I'll be impressed if you know this one. Danny Hay signed for listen to the stats. Danny Hay, George, was signed from Perth Glory for about £200,000, and he was the first New Zealander to sign for a Premier League club. Now there you go.
And how many games? How many
He
games?
played 4 times for Leeds from
It's a flop.
1990.
I don't remember this man. He's a flop. He's 4 times. Fair play to him. But Jimbo remembers him, New Zealand defender who's crap. So, yeah. I didn't even. Now,
let me read. I've got my notes here.
Go on, do it.
He attained a 3-year deal, and he became the first New Zealander to be offered a contract by a Premier League club.
Wow.
He was initially in the Leeds reserve squad from 1999 to 2000, and that's about it. He actually debuted in the Champions League for Leeds.
Wow.
And he also was named on the bench in the UEFA Cup first round against Partizan Belgrade on the 30th of September 1999.
Fair enough, but still crap.
Right. We must apologise. Do you know, he was, believe it or not, Danny Hay. Listen to do you want to hear his career after Leeds? He went to Walsall for a year, made 45 appearances, didn't score. Went to Football Kings for a year. Then New Zealand Knights, Perth Glory, and the Waitakere United. But he's recently managed New Zealand from 2019 to 22. And then he's the assistant manager of Auckland FC right now.
Oh, there you go. Good for him.
So, are we saying flop?
Yes.
Danny Hay is officially a flop for Leeds United. He can enjoy his assistant managerial duties. Right, we've got 2 more. Would you like Burns or Dewberry next, George?
Either one, you pick.
Michael Dewberry, because that's one which is open on my screen. Michael Dewberry, Dubes, signed for Leeds in 1999 and left us in 2005. I think you have a loan deal with Stoke for a year as well, if I remember. 57 appearances, 4 goals for Leeds. What do you think for Dubes, says Jimbo?
Oh, we'll have a Doob.
Michael Dewberry.
Michael Dewberry. Yes. Michael
Dewberry.
Dewberry.
From Chelsea for about £6 million.
Yeah. He signed with Chelsea. I'm going to say top. Because
top? Why? Why?
Again, I like Dewberry, and that might be me a bit biased saying he was a top player. I liked Dewberry. I thought he was strong and he was combative. Again, injury hit. Again, I mean,
but you look at that squad. You had Woodgate, Don Matteo, you had Radaby, you had Ferdinand in there. Obviously, again, this is the team which got to the semi-finals of the Champions League, and it did play the full 90 in the 1-0 win over AC Milan.
It was very top heavy with quality centre backs, like it was quality strikers. I mean, Realist said that it's an unfair comparison for me to compare Bridges and whatnot to the likes of Fowler in terms of injury records, but it was top heavy in terms of strikers, top heavy in terms of centre backs. Dewberry was a mid-level centre back for me amongst a high quality cluster of really top quality. Woodgate, Ferdinand, Radaby. Dewberry was a decent level centre-back, who would have got into pretty much any other Premier League side at that time. But it just so had to be that we had so many good players in the same position. I really rated Dewberry. I know he didn't play that many, but I did really like him. I know he's more known for his time at Chelsea. Obviously, he went on to, like you said, Stoke. He went on to Oxford, I think, later on in his career.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
He played for us a bit in the Championship as well, didn't he? Before he left. And Seth Johnson.
Yeah, he did. He also went to Stoke, Reading, Wickham, St Johnstone, and believe it or not, he made 4 appearances for the mighty Hendon FC. Do you know who Hendon FC are, George?
It's I'm not sure.
They're a semi-professional football club in the northwest London. And they play at the Silver Jubilee Park in Kingsborough. The Isthmian League South Central Division. That's where they're currently playing now.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go then. So, so what would you say, top or flop for Doobs?
I'd say top. Top.
I'm going to describe. I'm going to say it's a flop because we just didn't see enough of him, and he couldn't. If he was a top player, he'd have broke into that defence there. He'd have really broken and knocked Ferdinand.
I suppose you're right, but I think he did play his part in that era.
Yeah, he did. Let's have a look. Dewberry was a hit for about 4 million quid. Richard says he was good. Realist, I think he's saying flop. Jimbo says top. Realist coming in here was now, interesting Leeds fact, Antonio Semenyo was going to give up after Palace rejected him, but Dave Hockaday gave him a spot. Yes, I've read that. We could have in top or flop former managers.
Yes,
but we could do. So, Doobs, we're a bit tied on. And then your final one for top or flop this week is Jacob Burns. Jacob Jeffrey Burns, defensive midfielder, signed for Leeds in 2000. Jacob Burns, I think, was signed for about 300 grand from Perth Glory. I think it was Perth Glory, or is it Parapat? I don't know. Anyway, he's signed from Australia. And he made 27 appearances for us. George, no goals. Top or flop?
I mean, do I really have to say? I think it's pretty obvious, Aaron. A very big flop, man. I mean, these 2 lads you've got in there.
He made 3 appearances during the run of the semi-finals of the Champions League.
Rubbish. Yeah, rubbish. Flop.
Yeah.
Rubbish.
Flop.
In the era again, Aaron, where we liked Australian players, maybe they just said, "Oh, you come on, we've got Kuhl and Viduka. You just come for the ride." Rubbish. Didn't need him.
After Leeds, he signed for Barnsley for 3 years. He had 89 appearances for them and 6 goals. Wisła Krakow, I think I'm saying it right there, 22 appearances for them. And then Unirea Juzenci, whatever the hell that is, in Romania, played over there before he went back to Australia for 5 years. In Perth, I think he's probably still there now. Perth Glory, 116 appearances and 3 goals for them before I think he retired in 2014. Similar signing level as Hay, says Carl. He was always nervous. I can remember watching him. He'd panic every time on him.
Well, that's it. He was surrounded by extremely good players, and it was just a squad filler, wasn't he, really? At the end of the day.
Yeah, flop, says Realist there. So there you go. That is your top or flop for this week. Do you like that, George? I'm going to go play the video. Top or flop? There you go, top or flop. Do you like that, George?
Yeah, apart from the fact where you say, "Oh, top or flop," I think other than that, it's absolutely great. But fair play. It's a really good, solid feature. That one seemed to go down nicely with everybody there. So,
Yeah. So if you want us to think of top or flop players next week, get in the comments because we do read them. Who do you want us to pick for top or flop next week? It could be from the Bielsa era. It could be the Terry Venables era. It could be the Don Rivett. It could be whoever you want. So there you go. Get involved in the comments. Top of former LS11 podcast hosts, says Jimbo. Well, we can't do that because we're still all friends. Is that to replace Tanaka? He's always on the bench again. Yes, that's right, Carl. Tanaka time is rested for a little bit until he starts playing more regular for us. So we've done that. Jimbo says Wilco era. Oh, that'd be a good one, George.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, although with us being I think the guys in the comments wouldn't mind me saying, I think they're of a certain age bracket potentially.
Yeah, well, we have to do our homework, don't we, Joe? Bielsa era would be good. Christensen. There's so many eras which we could go on, and we can make this feature last for as long as we want. Because there's a lot of flops, and there's a lot of top players who've played for Leeds over the years.
Absolutely, 100%. From any era you can think of. Like I said, we'd have to do his homework for the Wilco era. Would be a good era to look back on, though. And everything else. So perhaps an era that wasn't so good. Was there any top players within that era of a team like your Hocker days and things like this?
God, the Chileno era. Oh God! Well, listen, Michael, we need a month for that.
Chileno was fabulous stories from that era, though. You know what I mean? I love the story of when he sacked Brian McDermott. Sack the couch because it was purple, and then he went and sacked McDermott because he thought he said sack the couch, sack the coach. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Bonkers fella. I once spoke to Dominic Polion. Remember Don Polion, Aaron played for him? He said it was
flop.
Well, yeah, but he was a nice bloke. So it was desolate, when Toledo, everything closed down within Thorpe Arch. Having to wash their own kit, having to bring the sandwiches in to eat instead of having this whole thing. I don't know if you watched The Day in the Life of Sean Longstaff, who seems like a really boring bloke, to be fair. He seems like a nice chap, but, and they're all doing the canteen and everything like that. That's 45 minutes of my life I won't get back. But there you go.
Well, there you go. So that was that, and we will bring it back for you next week, and we'll be doing some more top reviews. But George, we've got a massive game at the weekend. It's a 3:00 kickoff for Leeds United against Aston Villa in the Premier League. Oh, this is a tough one to kind of preview, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a tough game, Aaron, for Leeds. But I think Villa are struggling with one or two injuries, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel like we possibly might get something out of this game. I don't think it's as tricky as a lot of people might see. I know they've got some top players, but I think they are missing one or two. And I think if we can catch them cold, then, we might be able to do this. I mean, Brighton had a good go at them a couple of weeks ago, last week. They lost 1-0 very late on. And they had a really good go at them. They lost in the Cup to Newcastle at Villa Park. So, I know Newcastle are probably a better team than we are, and it was a cup game, but I don't see why we can't go there and win the game, to be honest.
Well, I think it's just for me, it's really difficult to kind of look at this because they are a top. Are they third in the Premier?
I think the second.
The second?
Second or third?
No, third in the league, 3 points behind City, 7 points off the top spot, 5 points ahead of fourth spot, which Manchester United currently hold. But I don't know. I think this is a really tough game. I think the next two games for Leeds are really, really tough. We've got Villa away, City at home. Listen, Jimbo, I will take a draw right now. I'd snap your hand off at that because I remember when we played them at Ellen Road, they were not that special.
Yeah, we were ahead at half-time. We should have done better. We just capitulated in the second half.
Yeah,
and, I think other than that, they won, 2 out of 5 in all competitions. They've only won one.
Slow start to the season as well, didn't they, Villa? They were hanging around the bottom 3, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. They won 1 out of the last 3 games. I think we can go at them. Like I said, they only won the last Premier League game off a late on goal against Brighton. It was 1-0.
Yeah,
they're drawn with Bournemouth. They lost to to Brentford.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like we can, you know, on our game. I think they've got a couple of injuries, Aaron, from what I've read. You know, like so Matty Cash and John McGinn are all injured. You know, Tielemans as well. He's also injured. So, you know, there's a few that Boubacar Kamara also injured. So there's a few that are always injured. You know, that's why they bought a couple in, didn't they? In the January window, obviously Tammy Abraham came back. You know, they recalled Leon Bailey as well. They got the young lad Alisson Edwards who came through from Brazil, who might be a bit of a wild card. Hasn't played much, of course. Daniel Farke's big friend Emi Buendia has had a fabulous season. To be fair, really good. And we could have profited very nicely if we managed to get him on deadline day in the summer. You can understand why Villa didn't want to let him go. He's played a real big part as well they're in the Europa League, aren't they? The Europa League as well. And, you know, they're doing really well. You know, you've got to take your hat off to Villa because they were in and amongst where we were, obviously, for a long period of time. The bottom echelons of the Premier League, in the Championship as well, of course. And look at what they're doing. The third in the Premier League. They've got 50-odd points already. They're, you know, going for Champions League again, having played Champions League already in the last couple of years. You've got to take your hat off to them and say, fair enough. It's one thing what a really, really top manager can do. I've heard him being in the conversations for the Real Madrid job, for the Barcelona job in the summer. He's a really, really top-class manager. And unfortunately, Leeds United are lagging way behind that when we were so in line with them for quite a number of years. It was a pivotal moment when they sacked Gerrard. You know, they got a really top-class manager in. And what we did, we sacked Jesse Marsh and we went the other way with a crap manager. And at that point, we could have gone for a top-class manager. Unai Emery was on the cards at one point. He was available. You know, if we'd have gone and got him, then we could have maybe been in the similar position, Aaron. But I think Villa are one to look at and say, hey, we could be doing that ourselves. But at the same time, they're not this top-quality, top-class team in the Premier League anymore. They're not yet.
I'd describe Villa as a well-oiled machine because they just do everything well. They do the basics really well. The passing, the movement, the transition from defence to attack is slick. You know, they've got individual quality like in Buendia, of course, but the unity around that squad is strong.
Good. And you know, Michael says, I think we can beat City. I think looking at the two of these next couple of games, I think the likelier is that we beat City more than we beat Villa. I think because it's at home, I think we've got maybe more chance of. I think we can get a draw from Villa. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. I think a draw. I think a draw would be fantastic. It would be a fantastic point if that can come on. But I just feel the next two games are really difficult for Leeds because you're playing second and third in the league. Once you've got these two fixtures out of the way, that's it. Your big boys are pretty much gone, other than Manchester United in a couple of weeks' time. But
they're not a big team.
They're not a big team. They're crap. Once you've got them out of the way, you can really focus. And we've got some favourable fixtures, etc. But it just, it's like the rivalry as well. That Villa game under Marcelo. We remember that. I was there for that. It was horrible watching that going, and it was angry. Everybody was angry. And Pontus Janssen. As well was very it was but if we come out of a point, it's like what Carl says there, we've done well. So go on then, George, what do you think is going to happen in this one then?
I think I'd like to say we get a draw, Aaron, a score draw. I'm going to go with 2 apiece again. I think we're in good confidence. I think we know we can score goals. It's not like the start of the season. I think we know we can score goals, and I think we will score. And I think they've got a lot of quality, and obviously I don't think we defensively we're not. I just don't think we can keep them out the other end. But I think it'll be a score draw, it'll be an entertaining game. Both teams want to play. I hope Farke sets us up, which I know he will. He'll set us up like a draw. But the way that the the Chelsea game went as well. We eventually came out of a shell a little bit. We had to go for it. I think Leeds sort of down the tools of the manager and say, actually, we need to go and get something from this and go and do his own thing. So the manager just sets us up to draw away from home all the time. And a draw won't be a bad result, but there's a stage, Aaron, where you think, right, a draw's fine, but we can actually go and win that game and have the knackers, have the bravery to say, actually, lads, we're going to go and win this. Instead of drawing, we're going to go and win, and we're going to get something that was unlikely. Because let's be honest, Villa, fabulous team, like I said, brilliant. The one to admire definitely from our position, but we're in similar positions a while ago, and they've elevated themselves.
Yeah.
But they're not this scary Premier League team like a big top tier team like City, Arsenal, whatever. We can get at them definitely with the injuries. John McGinn is a big one for them injured. Yuri Tielemans is still a fabulous player and is a big miss for them. And Boubacar Kamara as well is a big part of that team as well in the midfield. So I think, like at Ellen Road, we were toe to toe with them for a long period of time. If you remember correctly, Aaron, if Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't handball that one in, it goes off his chest or something. It's two apiece. Yeah, and we've got something out of the game. So we weren't at any point we weren't out of that match. I know Morgan Rogers is a really big problem, but if you can keep him quiet, you're nearly there. So I think I'm going to say a draw, but that is slightly optimistic maybe.
Yeah, agree. I'm going to go for a draw as well. I'll take 0-0 all day long. And I think we'll look at the City game next week in more detail. But he says, keep it tight, get Arsenal. Let's go on the pitch for the last few minutes. Jimbo says 1-1 as well as in this one. So, it's going to be a really, really difficult game for Leeds. And obviously, they've got City the week after. And then it's back to the Cup for Leeds. Or is it? Yeah. Back to the Cup for Leeds. Back to that. And I think we play Sunderland as well midweek, don't we?
Sunderland on the 1st, See, like I agree with you, Anne. As soon as you get these two out the way,
that's it.
And we're not, if the gap is still 6 or 5 or whatever, I think once you get Villa and City out the way, you look towards the last 10 games, they're quite manageable. Bar 1 or 2, Man U away is one that'll be difficult. But, other than that, they're very winnable, particularly the home games.
Yeah. On our way to 44 points, because I think that's what Leeds will get. And I think that's what we realistically need to stay up.
Well, I think if I looked at the revert, I know it means nothing really, but it's maybe a barometer to go after what we got of these last 12 in the reverse fixtures. I think we got something like 12 or 13 points off these last 12 games. So ending up on 43 wouldn't be the end of the world. I think that would also see us probably safe just about as well. So it's interesting to see what happens.
Good stuff. There you go. That's your Talking Leeds podcast for this week. Thank you to everybody on a slightly earlier time for joining us. We won't be doing it again, don't worry. We'll be back to normal. We might do, who knows. But please do give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a share it with your friends, top or flop, share, come on. And give us a subscribe. Press that little bell on YouTube. We want to get to 500, don't we, George, on there. As, with the numbers on the pod, if you're listening onto the podcast, just subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Since we've done it on the pods, you might as well do it.
Yeah, do it wherever you can. Spread it out.
Yeah, guys and chat marching on together. Thanks. Yes, listen, thank you, Michael, for joining us. And we'll be back next week. Top or flop will be back, so it seems to be popular with you all in the comments. And we'll be back next week talking all things Leeds United. George, what have you got coming up on your show? You've got 10 seconds.
Yeah, so we did just do Talking Brazil Ball. I did that's on now. There'll be a little thing on Bailey Peacock as well to watch.
There you go. That's see you on the next one, everybody. And thanks again for watching. God, I'll unmute you, George. Say bye.
Say bye-bye. Marching on together. Come on. Let's win the game.